Hey guys, good morning. I hope you had a great weekend and that you are ready for another week of distance learning. Today I'm going to read aloud to you a book called Mr. Will Needs to Chill. And when I'm reading, I want you to think about the main character in this story. His name is AJ. As you're thinking about him, I want you to think about the characteristics of him or his character traits. Before we get started, let's take a look at the learning target. I can describe the characteristics of a character in a book. And then how do you know you're successful? You're successful when you can explain the traits of the main character based on their actions and words. The story I'm going to read to you today is called Mr. Will Needs to Chill. This is a book written by Dan Gutman, and I'm going to read the back cover before we start because you've learned that that's a strategy that you should use to see if a book might be something you would be interested in reading. The Ding Dong Ice Cream Truck is coming to elementary school, but crabby Dr. Carbles has banned Ice Cream Man Mr. Will and his desserts forever. He's planted bugs all over school to make sure no one breaks the rules. Will AJ and the gang ever get to enjoy the sweet taste of a push-up pop again? Before I begin reading, I'm going to show you this picture. These are the characters that we'll be reading about. This is AJ, his friend Ryan, and Michael. This name is cut off. You can't see it there, but that is Alexia, Andrea, Emily, and Neil. So as I'm reading, hopefully you can kind of picture in your mind which person is speaking. But we are focusing today on the characteristics of AJ. There's AJ eating an ice cream cone, and I don't know, his face doesn't look like he's enjoying it. So let's see what's happening. The Ding Dong Man. My name is AJ and I hate ice cream. Well, I don't hate all ice cream. I like normal ice cream like vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and mint chip. But my friend Billy, who lives around the corner, told me he likes weird ice cream flavors like bacon, garlic, and octopus. What's up with that? Why would anybody want to eat octopus flavored ice cream? What dumbhead dreamed up that idea? You probably think this book has nothing to do with ice cream, but you're wrong. It has everything to do with ice cream. You see, it was Friday, and we just pledged the allegiance in Mr. Cooper's class like we do every morning. That's when an announcement came over the loudspeaker. It was our principal, Mr. Klutz. Good morning, elementary students, he announced. It's a sunny day today. Lunch will be Sloppy Joe sandwiches. There are no birthdays today. The big news is that Mrs. Jaffe and I are leaving this morning to go to principal camp. Oh, yeah. Every year, Mr. Klutz and our vice principal, Mrs. Jaffe, go hang out in the woods for a few days with a bunch of other principals. Nobody knows why. We're going to learn all kinds of new and creative teaching methods to help you kids learn better, said Mr. Klutz. Oh, so that's That's why they're going to principal camp. I wondered who would be our principal while Mr. Klutz and Mrs. Jaffe were gone. While we're gone, Mr. Klutz continued, the acting principal will be Dr. Marshall Carbles, the president of the Board of Education. Oh no, not Dr. Carbles. He's the meanest man in the history of the world. Boys and girls, I want you to pay attention to this asterisk right here at the end of that sentence. When you see something like that in a text, it normally means that there's something called a footnote at the bottom of the page that gives you additional information. So here is the footnote. If you don't believe me, read Dr. Carbles is losing his marbles. I wonder why he's so mean. Have a nice weekend, announced Mr. Klutz. I'll see you when I get back from principal camp. It was hard to focus on reading and writing and math. I kept thinking about mean Dr. Carbles. It was also hard to focus on reading and writing and math because it's reading and writing and math. It would be a lot easier to focus on video games, skateboarding, and football. Too bad we don't study those things in school. Finally, it was time for recess, the best part of the day. Me and the gang ran out to the playground to play on the monkey bars. That's when we heard a tinkling sound. You know the sound I'm talking about. Look, there's another asterisk. Let's see what's at the bottom of the page. No, not that sound. That's another tinkling sound. It's the greatest sound in the world. It's the ding-dong truck coming down the street. Everybody stopped what they were doing. It's Mr. Will, the ding-dong man, shouted Michael, who never ties his shoes. Mr. Will, the ding-dong man, shouted Ryan, who will eat anything, even stuff that's not food. Mr. Will, the ding-dong man, shouted Alexia, this girl who rides a skateboard all the time. In case you were wondering, everybody was shouting that it was Mr. Will, the ding-dong man. Mr. Will is the greatest man in the world because he drives the ding-dong truck. It's a truck filled with ice cream. What could be greater than that? Anybody who has a truck full of ice cream must be great. Mr. Will probably gets to eat all the ice cream he wants every day. Wow, that's my dream job. When I grow up, I'm going to drive an ice cream truck and be a ding-dong man. We ran over to the fence and pressed our faces against it. I love ice cream, said Andrea Young, this annoying girl with curly brown hair. Me too, said Emily, her copycat crybaby friend. Everybody loves ice cream, said Neil, who we call the nude kid, even though he wears clothes. That's interesting. I hope that we find out why they call him the nude kid. It was true. Who doesn't love ice cream? I can smell the ice cream from here, I said. You can't smell ice cream, Arlo, said Andrea, who calls me by my first name because she knows I don't like it. Ice cream doesn't have a smell. It does too. Does not. We went back and forth like that for a while. Your face has a smell, I told Andrea. Oh, snap, said Ryan. Mr. Will was playing my favorite song, the Ding Dong Ice Cream Jingle. It goes like this. Do 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 do, or something like that. Mr. Will plays the Ding Dong Jingle over and over all day long. When I was little, Michael told us, my parents called the ding-dong truck the music truck. They said it just drives around all day playing music. They didn't tell me it had ice cream in it. My parents said that when the music was playing, it meant the ding-dong man ran out of ice cream, said Alexia. Parents are weird, I said. They'll do anything to prevent us from eating ice cream. Mr. Will parked the ding-dong truck on the street across from the playground, so near and yet so far away. He leaned out of the truck and waved to us. He was wearing his white ding-dong uniform. I really wanted to go over and get some ice cream, but we're not allowed to leave the school grounds during recess. It's not fair. That's when the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. I'm not going to tell you what it was. Okay, I'll tell you. But you have to read the next chapter. So, na boo boo on you. Boys and girls, we will read the next chapter next week. And we will find out what the greatest thing in the history of the world was. Before we do that, I want to talk about our learning target for today, which was that you can identify the characteristics or the character traits of the main character in a text. Well, we've been introduced already to several characters, but our main character is AJ. He is the person that is telling this story. So let's think about what character traits could we use to describe him. Well, I think that AJ is curious because he was talking about the different flavors of ice cream, although he didn't like the idea of bacon, garlic, and octopus flavor, and I can't really say I blame him for that. I also think that AJ sounded like he was nice until he started talking about Andrea, and he said that her face smells. That wasn't very nice. That was kind of mean. You know what? I think AJ's probably just like any other little boy in maybe second or third grade. What do you think? Today, as you are doing your reading independently, I want you to identify the main character in your story. Once you've done that, I want you to think about what are 2 or 3 or even more words that you could use to describe the main character, their characteristics or their character traits. I'll look forward to hearing what you have to say about that a little later on. Until tomorrow, I hope you enjoy your day today and just read and have fun. Love you. Miss you. Bye-bye.